I'm Jashykins, and today I am going to start my Splice review series. Now, before I actually get onto the review, I'm going to talk about a story. This story being about how I missed Splice by one day in the movie theaters. Now, I heard about Splice and it started to interest me because it dealt with science fiction and horror, and it was about genetic engineering a monster, so I had to see it. And I was like, I want to see this with someone. And at the time I was visiting my mom, so I convinced her to come to the movie theater with me. In return, I would go thrift store shopping with her that day. And so the day came when we had planned that we were going to see Splice. And we checked the listings in the newspaper and it wasn't showing at all. So we missed it by one day because the previous day there were maybe a few showings. And so I was sort of pissed and sad. But I finally did see it. I now own the DVD. And so what did I think of Splice when I finally saw it? Well, that's what this review series is going to cover.
It is your destiny.
Fuck my destiny.
As I had said before, I had first wanted to see Splice because it was marketed as a science fiction / horror movie. And how can I say this? It is very full of science fiction elements, including, of course, the obvious genetic splicing thing going on. But the horror isn't so evident until maybe the last 10 minutes. And well, the last 10 minutes are really, really exciting, and they are a good horror movie. But that's really the last 10 minutes, so you shouldn't really go into Splice expecting this big horror movie. You shouldn't, or else you'll be very disappointed. And I think Splice might not have done so well because, as I said, it was marketed as a science fiction / horror movie, when it's much more of just a science fiction movie with a little horror element. The plot of Splice is basically what happens when two scientists create a creature that has human DNA in it, and then they raise the creature. The creature is, of course, Ren. So with this plot summary, Splice is, in my opinion, basically a character study, and you get to know and like each of the characters. And so when the big climactic battle happens at the end, it just isn't, oh my god, that character's dying, that character's dying. You're emotionally involved. You know who these characters are. They're not just random people. And in my opinion, it makes the last 10 minutes really more horrifying than it would have been otherwise. Is it good that Splice sacrificed horror to get a deeper character understanding? In my opinion, yes, but it's still bad that Splice was marketed as a horror film. I consider Splice to be a modern retelling of the classic story of Frankenstein. In both stories, you have scientist or a scientist going into things he or she shouldn't delve into. In Frankenstein, it was raising the dead from their graves. In Splice, it was genetic engineering some creature with human DNA. And in both cases, they say it's bad to mess with things you shouldn't. There's not a good outcome. In Frankenstein, his creation kills him at the end. In Splice, well, it doesn't end up too well to our two main protagonists, with Dren killing one and raping the other. Yeah. There is a lot of differences between the two. However, the message is really the same in both stories. And I would highly suggest you read the novel Frankenstein, the original one. And of course, keep a dictionary handy when you're reading it, because it's a lot of work. But it pays off. And until next video, goodbye.